Hey, what is up, everybody? This is Stevie Breach coming to you here today. Tomorrow is the big 900th edition of SmackDown. And I know I don't do these for SmackDown a lot, but I always treat Monday Night Raw like it is the A show, doing the 5 show previews. But we've done it for SmackDown before, back when they first did the brand split. They were doing the first live one. Since then, honestly, I've heard from a lot of people that WWE SmackDown really is the show to watch for people. That people have sort of switched it up. Monday Night Raw has become the fast forward show, while SmackDown is really has a back to the '80s sort of feel. And there was a time when SmackDown was that really awesome show to me. But if you go back to back when they really were doing gimmicks, yet once again, they had the Leprechaun, they had the Boogeyman, they had King Booker. It was like everybody had a gimmick, and it was like, watching wrestling as a kid back in the 80s, when you had wrestlers, but they had second jobs and things like that. But SmackDown really is putting it together, and I wish that I could find a way that SmackDown really got plugged in as Tuesday is must-see television for me. And I think it's going to have to be, because Monday Night Raw really isn't doing it for me, and I keep hearing such good things about SmackDown that I think I'm going to have to start checking that out more often. The big thing for the 900th edition of Monday Night Raw is going to be the return of The Undertaker. I don't really know if this is just going to be The Undertaker, showing up, doing a one and done, or if this is actually where they're going to be starting something for Undertaker that's going to go on to the future. We've seen in the past where Undertaker is showing up like on the 1000th Raw, and he came down with Kane, and I think that they ended up being jumped by what would be three-man band, but they weren't really together at the time. Just three dudes just came running down trying to beat him up. We had Undertaker, we had Kane. They were able to hit their tombstones, and they were able to go off in a moment. It was just sort of like, wow. Undertaker and Kane, they were back together and they were on Raw. Didn't really mean anything to any of the upcoming pay-per-views. Didn't really mean anything to the upcoming WrestleMania. Just was that feel-good moment. Undertaker and Kane, to me, honestly, is the one storyline that WWE has stayed true to throughout the years. Where it goes back to Undertaker burning down the funeral home, where his brother Kane was still inside of it. Undertaker thought that Kane had died. Paul Bearer actually raised Kane, and I know they came up with a book. I never read it. I think I read a review, and then I got bored and I didn't even finish it. But I think WrestleCrap did a review of the book, where it just sort of told the history of Kane as like a real novel. And it told some stories that were involved in the wrestling storylines, and they told some stuff that had nothing to do with wrestling at all. Undertaker showing up on SmackDown, showing off that he is, true blue. I know that this is the 900th edition of SmackDown, but I think it's cool that they're actually giving a moment to SmackDown, that it's actually going to mean something, because I've even talked about this with the, Goldberg versus Brock. It would mean a lot more because of what happened at the end of SummerSlam with Shane being beat up by Brock Lesnar, that maybe Shane recruits Goldberg, and Goldberg actually does his debut on SmackDown to sort of at least say that Paul Heyman and Brock Lesnar are paying attention to what's going down on SmackDown when he challenges Brock Lesnar. And then, the Survivor Series already has a feel of Raw versus SmackDown, that it sort of does this. So you could have Shane at ringside during this match, locking eyes with Brock, and it makes you sort of get the tingles of like, WrestleMania is coming. Oh, this is going to be awesome. But there's a few different storylines they could go with. Of course, you go back to WrestleMania 32, the match that WWE wishes you would forget, where basically it was Undertaker versus Shane in a Hell in a Cell. If Shane won the match, he would gain control of Monday Night Raw. What do you know? Shane lost. Shows up the next night. Vince gives it to him anyways. You did a good job, buddy. And I think actually Vince sort of said, I don't know how long this is going to last, but you can have this. You can have this moment. And, from there, Shane's been in the company, and now he's in charge of SmackDown. So is, Undertaker going to congratulate him? Is he going to shake his hand? Or are they going to act like it never happened? It could be anything. We could just see Undertaker come down and the lights go out and blah, 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 blah. I don't know. Could they be building to WrestleMania? I think the two matches that honestly I want to see Undertaker have at WrestleMania this year is either Undertaker versus Cena or Undertaker versus Finn Balor. Anything else is just, I don't think it's going to matter. Some people have said, Undertaker versus Randy. We've seen that before. Undertaker versus Bray. We've seen that before. Undertaker versus Randy was a great match. Undertaker versus Bray made me want to fall asleep. It made me wish I was standing in a hot dog line. Nothing about it was cool other than the Bray Wyatt entrance. Undertaker's entrance was pretty cool too. A lot of people complained about it being, during daylight and it not being as cool. I don't know. I like the WrestleMania 9 entrance of the Undertaker, and there was daylight there, and I don't think anybody's ever complained about that. Truth is, I don't think the Undertaker's appearance on SmackDown tomorrow is going to mean anything in the long scheme of plans. I think that maybe WWE will insert some sort of a tease, which when it breaks down, coming around WrestleMania time, is going to mean nothing. And you're going to hear me talk about it in my videos. Remember that one time Undertaker showed up on SmackDown and looked at that guy? Nothing ever happened. Sort of like Undertaker, or I apologize, sort of like when Brock Lesnar was going through the halls of the WWE offices looking for Triple H, and he stopped and he stared at that Brock poster. We never got to see Brock versus Rock. Never happened. I don't know, but SmackDown's got the 900th Raw. Undertaker's going to be there. Got my 2 thumbs up.